Episode
Light
5,
upon my...
Turnabout for Tomorrow. No one can escape their past. The sins we've committed, and the sadness we've caused. No matter how far we run, our past remains, as ever present as the moon in the sky. It looms in wait for the day when we are forced to face it. But only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on in hope towards tomorrow. December 20th, 1:23 p.m. Write Anything Agency. They took Athena from the courtroom, straight to the station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. Neither of them are there. Phoenix is all alone. Well, he's got Trucy, but like none of his other lawyers are there. So this past year, I took it for granted that those two would always be here. But now, Apollo's gone off on his own to seek his own truth. And my pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be.
It's even quieter here than usual.
Yeah, it seems so empty too.
I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid.
Yeah, and I still believe it was, based on what we know.
But now, Athena's the one who's being accused.
During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center. The lighter used by the real culprit was found. The lighter proved the defendant, Solomon Starbuck, innocent. But Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder.
But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, none of it does. I'm racking my brain, but I just can't figure it out. Where's the flaw in my reasoning? What have I got wrong in this case?
You know, Daddy, if Athena was here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking. She'd be out there doing something.
Yeah, we need to investigate.
You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy?
Obviously, we have to. Of course I will. And thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. Trucy's right. The trial is tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm I'm going to prove Athena's innocent. I'd better get out there and find some evidence.
Off we go then. We're on a hunt for evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence.
Oh, Trucy's gonna come with us. Great. But before we go, I better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. So yeah. So, still got the autopsy, obviously. You got the mount, knife, door stuff. This thing.
The cause of all our woes.
Tina's probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Trucy's right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the Space Center. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute? Galactic scooter. Full speed ahead.
Runs.
You're like, nope, I'm not talking to you. Goodbye. Director. He scooted away.
His expression changed the instant he saw you, Daddy.
Of course it would. Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud pretty good at the trial earlier today. We were all here yesterday. Oh, hey. Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yep. I came straight here. That's all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. You've given me a second chance to fly into space again. I can't thank you enough. Except... He's probably sad about Athena. He probably doesn't think Athena did it. What's wrong? I thought he'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Sykes. He saw Athena? I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. And then you know what? She flashed a peace sign at me. Aw, she's still like, hey, good job, you're free, get in. Congratulations on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, that sounds like Athena. I can picture it now. I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's got to be suffering. She must be so worried. And yet she went out of her way to be nice and give me a big smile.
She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena.
There's no question about it. That girl's innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. Then they can put me in prison instead. I don't mind. Dude, you've declared not guilty. You're not going back in there for this. We can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. No, don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm going to give her the very best defense I can. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be all right with you in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Apollo has a fine boss to look up to. So where's Apollo going to come back into this? I wonder if Apollo's heard this news yet, that Athena has been arrested. Because, like, if Apollo and Athena came here together that day, Apollo is her alibi. Apollo, like, unless she, like, Apollo's, like, she did go away for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, Apollo would be, like, a rock-solid alibi for her. It's like,
I think Apollo right now is digging up shit from 7 years ago.
probably.
Like court files and records.
Apollo's likely looking into 7 years ago. And he's probably going to see the connection with Athena. but it's also going to be like Athena still wouldn't do this. Cause like, what would Athena's motive even be here? Like, I'm curious to see what the prosecution is going to say on that.
Honestly, like, what I think happened is I think Athena discovered the lighter and then realized it might be the property of Apollo and then grabbed it.
What
And
would
then
it be
realized what it
Apollo's
was.
lighter? Apollo also doesn't wear gloves, so
I
Apollo's
feel
working
like
on it.
she would discard of it, though, for some purpose. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
If she touched it recently.
Still can't believe Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. What could have made Director Cosmos do such a thing? Haven't the foggiest idea. So there never was going to be a launch that day. Not from the very beginning. I wonder if Clay knew. I imagine he must have. Really? What would Clay have to gain by knowing it's not a launch?
The space rocks, I'm thinking. Or it could have been a test for our lovely friend in front of us to see if he could handle the nerves.
Surely he would have noticed when he went to board the rocket. Okay, if he learned at that point, yeah, it makes sense. But if, like, the way I was understanding the game trying to say is, like, Clay had ahead of time knowledge that it wasn't going to.
Mm-hmm.
Pokegirl got a purring kitty. It's pathetic
You
to
have a
think I was
purring
the only
kitty.
one who got taken in.
I will admit, that's very tempting.
But I guess that's about how it goes when you're worth less than a space 3.
Is he gonna be alright, Daddy?
Maybe.
His expression looks as dark as a black hole.
Well,
Oh, like,
that's just how he is. Also, I forgot for a moment. Ah! Why does nobody have a reaction to it in this case? Mr. Starbuck, do you remember anything about the murderer? Not really. I saw only a shadowy figure in the dark after all. Yeah, I guess that was a little too much to hope for. Hey, I heard something from the police, though. They said that they never did find a 10 caliber gun down that trash chute. Just as I thought. The culprit must have carried it away with them when they escaped.
so was the person you saw holding a gun Mr. Starbuck?
Couldn't really tell. But it wasn't Athena, right? Could you tell if the person was male or female? Tall or short? I can't even tell that much, man. Man, I'm useless. The culprit opened the door and some light came in. I should have been able to see. Door. I guess. As I recall, they opened this door here as they made their escape.
The door to Launchpad 1, right?
Yeah, except right now, the door leads to the Space Museum. Wait, it leads to it right now?
I guess it would have to. So maybe something changed.
No, but the Space Museum being there right now doesn't make any sense.
No, they could just switch it all willy-nilly for accuracy in the crime scene, though.
Maybe. Like, if they did switch it just for, like, trying to recreate the killer's route.
Yeah.
You mean the Launchpad and the Space Museum are switched right now? Yeah, they're trying to investigate the theory you came up with in court. This is the recreating the conditions, huh? I'd like to see what's beyond that door now. Mr. Starbuck, could you open the door for us? Sure. Just let me have my print scanned here. Yeah, there's the 2. Do the launch pads get switched back and forth a lot? Well, back when the Space Museum was launch pad 2, they used to switch pads around at times. These days, launch pad 2 is used only as a tourist attraction, right? Right. Because, quite frankly, the Space Center needs money. I hear ya. Times sure are tough.
Daddy, let's go check out what's beyond that door.
See, now, remember how we were talking about the crack not being visible on the screen until we turned it off? It's visible now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't remember when I was, like, editing the part, like, if that, actually looking to see if it was there. Like, I didn't
It
know.
looks like a spider web the way it is, though.
Yeah, that's how the crack happens. Sure, let's go. And why don't you come along? I can show you around.
Ooh.
What are leaves doing? What are these dead leaves doing here?
Maybe they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes. There are lots of trees around the Space Center.
She's right. It's a modern state-of-the-art building, but it's surrounded by trees. But I don't know. They're stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes. Wouldn't they look more crushed up? These don't look like they've been stepped on.
Maybe there's some kind of secret hatch in the corridor that came in that way. By the way, before they do it, I was definitely thinking the lady on the 4th floor. When the thing was spinning, she jumped out the window and then jumped onto the rotating hallway and then flopped in.
They would have seen her though, because she was with the group. So
well, nobody else saw the.
Because if they're climbing down the ladder, they're not looking towards the rocket. They're looking towards the building because they're climbing down the ladder. So the rotation would be happening behind their backs.
Yeah, but she's in her own office, right? So they had to go into her office and bust it open. Interesting.
Not everything is set up like a magician's stage, you know. We're not adding that to our court record?
Really? I guess it matters whose prints are on here.
So this is another one of those devices for opening the door, huh? Yep. But this one doesn't require fingerprint verification. Just hit the button and open sesame.
So when you and Clay went through here, you didn't have to show your prints either?
That's right, Trucy. It's just like how the culprit didn't need to scan her prints. Let's get back out to Space Museum corridor into boarding lounge 2. Well, I don't think anything else that jumps out at me, and I imagine this corridor is built exactly like Launchpad 1 corridor. Okay, I guess we gotta go back to the entrance because, like...
Probably the girl.
Because they talked about going into the museum, but we didn't go into the museum. Oh, he's back. Cursed and shoes sullying my good name. Reverse course, full speed away. Dr. Cosmos, wait.
I'll handle this, Daddy. Take that.
Gah! The mobility soup has been compromised.
Oh my god.
Trucy's knife throw was a direct hit to one of his tires.
And the streak continues.
Gosh, Trucy. Maybe I should have kept a closer watch on what tricks she's been practicing. Oh dear, old battleship. We have fought many a skirmish together. It has been an honor.
Daddy, he's gonna blow that thing up.
Nah, I bet all that button will do is make it go haywire again. Very well, I surrender. I thought one of the tires was popped. How is he turning that around?
On a flat tire sideways? Like...
As a prisoner of war, I expected to be treated honorably. You got anything to say about this yet?
Wait,
Nope.
can he not walk?
Who knows? Director Cosmos, when you were talking in the court about switching launch pads, you used your right to remain silent about the reason as to why. Center of the cosmos is shrouded in mystery, but I don't have any secrets left. Now that my battleship has been destroyed, I've been taken prisoner.
Ooh. Three locks.
No secrets left, huh? I beg to differ. So I have to undo the Cyclops if I want to get to the bottom of this. Well, we don't have anywhere else to go, so we probably have everything we need.
Save before, save before.
We're fine. I want you to tell me everything you're hiding about the switching of the two launch pads. I refuse. You can't make me. I can hold out longer than anyone. I hope I never get like this when I'm old. Let's see. Where to start? This is how you explained your motive for switching the launch pads. You did it. Let's see how you explained your motive for switching the launch pads.
To save the
Yeah,
astronauts, I
he
think.
wanted to save them. He did mention that. Thanks to your switching the launch pads, the astronauts escaped injury from the blast. Instead, they safely boarded the museum's rocket far away from the actual explosion. So he knew the explosion was gonna be in the actual
In
rocket.
the actual rocket.
So he switched them so they'd end up going to the museum. My astronauts are raring to go on the authentic adventure in space. How do you propose I had them board a fake rocket without them noticing? I agree, you couldn't have done it without help. For one, they would have figured out the instant they stepped into the space museum. You figured you could fool Mr. Starbuck once he'd been drugged with his medication, but how this was it would have been impossible to pull off your plan.
Definitely Clay. He knew.
Why would Clay know? That is so weird.
Take that!
You must have gotten Mr. Turan to help you. Ugh. He stole the tranquilizers from his mentor's locker and slipped them to him. Then, with Mr. Starbuck in a daze, they boarded the replica rocket in the museum. Arrgh! Someone help me in this war, prisoner of war! How is he able to spin around like that?
Especially in chains.
If you really wanted to save the astronauts' lives, shouldn't you have just called off the launch? If I could have done that, do you think I would have gone all that trouble? Guess he must have had a compelling reason at why he could call it off. But how did you know to switch the pads in advance of the bombing incident? Well, that's because I was warned in advance. Once I received that warning, it was my duty to ensure my astronauts' safety. But how did you know where the bomb would be? How did you know it would be for sure on the rocket in Launchpad 1? But it was just a warning. It could have been a prank. Why did you believe in it so completely? Because I went to one of those mediums that everyone talks about these days.
Okay, we're on to something.
Maya? Question mark?
Maya?
Maya or Pearls? Could be one of those two. Or some new character. Oh? I didn't realize channeling was back in vogue. Besides, I thought it was you yourself that got the warning via telephone. Yes, that's right. The bomber contacted me personally. My battleship is equipped with a special advanced communication system, you see. AKA a regular old telephone. It's been a while. Planning another launch? I see you haven't learned. I'll never forget the terror I felt when I received that call. The bomber said, it's been a while.
Isashiburi.
That was enough to make you take the threat seriously? Director Cosmos took the threat so seriously because the Space Center had been involved in a bombing once before? Maybe. The culprit in the current case is the same as the person who was involved in the incident. He's probably referring to this.
Had to be the Hat One miracle.
Because
Because the courtroom bomb number 4 happened.
yeah,
Never happened yet.
well, no, at this point in the game, courtroom 4 bombing has happened.
Yeah, no,
But-
no.
Yeah, it happened
But-
two days ago as of where we are right now.
Yeah.
But like in the timeline events, like it makes more sense. But
It's a Hat One miracle.
this bombing happened before this one. It's like it's got to be referring to this one. The Hat One Miracle, the epic story of survival. People across the nation know it now as a heroic tale of bravery. But in truth, it was an act of sabotage perpetrated by our current killer, wasn't it? Very few know about the previous plot. So, when the caller said, it's been a while, you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that the danger was real, and it wasn't a prank. Grrr! Didn't anyone ever tell you to go easy on the ex-servicemen?
When is my new name Milk?
Hi, Milk. How you doing? Epic Milk?
Very milky. EpicMike16.
Yes, the Hat One Miracle was a desperate battle against an act of sabotage. I even lost the life of one of my staff members in the fight. Sabotage, murder. So this is the ugly truth behind that Hat One Miracle. I let my guard down. I thought the saboteur had been caught, and the case was closed. Huh? Wait a minute. The murder at the Space Center 7 years ago? This must be the person Director Cosmos was referring to as a culprit. What do you think?
Well, he did get convicted of it.
'Cause 7 years ago is when Blackwell got convicted.
It's when Blackwell got convicted, but
So,
maybe...
Was
How did he get his
false-
voice?
Was Blackwell falsely accused?
No, I definitely think so. I think in the end he's innocent, and he has a special deal because maybe him and Fulbright know something that we don't.
Take that!
Simon Blackwell, the murder suspect in the case that happened here 7 years ago. The place and time of the two incidents, the murder and the sabotage, were the same. So you thought that he committed both crimes. But while Prosecutor Blackwell was behind bars, you got another threatening call. The culprit this time is the same as 7 years ago, then it isn't Simon Blackwell. Realizing that, you were shaken. It meant the true culprit's been running free all this time. How do you keep seeing straight through me?
Getting into character.
The reason why Director Cosmos won't talk about why he switched launch pads is connected to the truth behind the Hat 1 miracle. The sabotage and murder that happened at the Space Center 7 years ago. Director Cosmos, tell us why you're hiding. What you're hiding. If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads. We'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago. 7 years ago. You mean the so-called Hat 1 miracle? The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, then the troubles began. It was the handiwork of a certain person and their evil scheme. So Mr. Starbuck's traumatic experience wasn't accidental. Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered.
Yeah. Wow, I had no such idea that such awful events were such behind the exciting such of space heroism.
All that, in spite of the Space Center having very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming or going. You couldn't even smuggle in a wizard or leaf through the checkpoints. And interesting you mentioned a wizard or leaf. We found one. So, do you have any clues to who's responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it is clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy.
A spy? You mean somebody who infiltrates a foreign country? Carries out dangerous missions and always gets the girl?
Someone's watching way too many late night movies. Well, I guess if we're talking about blowing up a rocket and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising that a spy could be behind all of it. Make no mistake, the cutthroat rivalry between the nations and the space R&D race. Some try to outdo others by any means possible in deliberate obstruction. 7 years ago, we got a call before the launch warning us of sabotage. The same MO as this time. Yes, and here I thought the perpetrator had been caught, but it looked like I was wrong.
Prosecutor Blackwell seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think?
Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing?
Not really.
Yeah, because spies are investigating, ninjas are like assassins in a way, right? Isn't that kind of like a good way to say it?
Yep.
That's Naruto. We're talking about ninjas, not real ninjas, not Naruto ninjas.
Real ninjas.
Massive cover-up by the government. Government officials were too embarrassed to admit that they had allowed such a thing to happen in the hands of the spy. Don't tell me they made the police rush the investigation. They did indeed. And then to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story. And that was the Hat 1 miracle, wasn't it? But then 7 years later, the same MO, advance warning of sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching the launch pads. 7 years ago, the spy gave you advance warning of their plans, just like this time. That's what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it? That's right. The Color knew the facts of the case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They know about the sabotage, the moon rock, the murder, and they said, "You don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you?" I merely thought of calling off the launch, but the government wouldn't let me. don't give in to the likes of terrorists. We will proceed for our country's honor. Yeah, that's kind of bad.
That's what they do, though.
It was quite a moving speech, actually. Moving? Really? Maybe if you're easily inspired by political talking points. But I knew the truth. We had been warned, which meant the danger was very real. And I knew there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way. That's why I switched to launch pads and staged the moving rescue scene. First, I snuck into the center the night before and switched to launch pads. That way the astronauts would go from boarding lounge 1 to the Space Museum. Then I put up close repair signs at the door to launch pad 1 in the boarding lounge 2. You did that so no more visitors wouldn't enter, right? What else did you do? I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Taryn. But you don't let Mr. Starbuck in on it. You'd already been through enough, and he's not good at lying or to keep secrets. I'm afraid I had no choice but to have him drugged. My plan went well until...
Clay's murder, huh?
So, I think likely the murderer is one of the people he enlisted to help.
It has to be.
After a culprit made their escape, I switched the launch pads back. And in such a way no one would find out. But after all that effort, Taryn is dead, and Hat 2 is destroyed. And the Hope's capital, which I had returned to us only recently, was also lost in a blast.
What?
Huh?
Then what's in the current capsule?
Huh?
What's in there?
Hey,
Hey, Strawberry.
my home, the center of the cosmos. My beautiful Cosmos Space Center is done for! Wait, what did he mean by the Hope capsule was lost in a blast? I thought the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Taryn. It had just been brought back by the Hope space probe with asteroid samples. The capsule was being held in a safe from Launchpad 1. But I gave it to Taryn before the incident so it wouldn't be destroyed in the explosion. The idea was that, with it safely in Taryn's possession, you could make it look like he rescued it during this miraculous escape.
Oh.
But her precious research materials ended up lost to that explosion anyway. How?
Which explosion? But I thought Clay was supposed to keep it safe.
You must understand. The launchpad explosion wasn't the one the capsule was lost to.
It was the elevator.
It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence. Wait.
It was lost in that blast?
Also, we don't technically have it anymore.
What?
Because
Was it in the box or something like that, or?
Because they often give us evidence, like pieces of evidence, is just like the representation of it, like kind of like the door.
Yeah.
So we don't actually have the Hope capsule anymore. It was a courtroom bombing from the other day. The capsule was there in the courtroom as evidence, and it was blown to smithereens. Yet another casualty of the blast. Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching to the launch pads. What? How? The police found a wiretapping device during their investigation today. A bug aboard my battleship, A tape on my advanced communication system. Wire on that phone? Yes, a wire on this very phone. I use this phone to give instructions to my staff about the launchpad switch. Just to the few select members who know about the plan. Just before the incident, staff members were coming in and out of Launchpad 1. The culprit probably slipped in with them amid the confusion.
Someone had to do it while the launch pad was moving with people there.
Planted a bomb then. Yes, if they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull something off like that. Do you really think the same spy is behind the incident in a one from 7 years ago? Yes, I'm sure of it. Then the spy must be the phantom Prosecutor Blackwell has been seeing.
So if we can find this phantom.
That's right. We can clear Athena's name. And then there's the matter of Prosecutor Blackwell, too.
What about him?
Well, Trucy, were you not paying attention?
He wasn't present for most of it.
Based on the testimony we've just gotten, Blackwell did not do the crime 7 years ago. He's been falsely arrested and falsely imprisoned. Well, if the culprit 7 years ago is the same person as the current incident, it would mean Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent. That's still an if, though.
I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without handcuffs. Goddamn dangerous.
But if we're going
But if we're gonna go on a ghost hunt, count me in.
ADK.
Hard, isn't it?
It's all over for me. Spin, spin, well, well, I'm done for. The space, the center of the cosmos is doomed.
Do you think he's gonna be alright, Daddy?
Well, at least he'll be in good company. There must be planets out there he can spin with. Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper into that Hat 1 mission, too. Want to learn more? Start with the Space Museum. That's where the Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me. I'll keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfolds.
The combat.
I don't know where
It's
I got
like he
combat
achieved.
from.
It's like he achieved spiritual enlightenment or something.
I'm sure he'll stop when he gets dizzy. Let's go visit the Space Museum.
She's just spinning.
Just keep spinning. Just keep spinning.
Let's see, where's the exhibit on the launch 7 years ago?
There. That's the Hat 1 exhibit.
Oh wow, look at the photo of the team. So, girl on the far right died.
We think. We still haven't gotten confirmation yet. There's Clay, Mr. Starbuck, Director Cosmos, or Blackwell, and even Funko. But I've never seen the woman on the right before.
Everybody looks so happy. Well, except for Director Cosmos.
I'm sure he's smiling under that mustache. Let's check out the newspaper article, too. Hat 1 launched Animate. And there's a photo of the Hope space probe.
You think that's a moon rock?
That could be the rock.
You also have the samurai sword that was used in the preview.
It's only natural to
You got a no
doesn't
mask.
talk about the murderer's sabotage.
They really were keeping it a secret, just like the director said. Daddy, take a look at that jacket.
It must be the Hat 1 team's uniform jacket. It's the same design as the one Apollo was wearing, the one that belonged to Clay.
Actual jacket worn by one team member, it says.
Not a replica, huh? Wonder if it was Mr. Starbucks.
I actually think it's that fourth girl's.
Well, we can ask Starbuck. We'll see if he knows. Hello. Oh, what the? Oh, Miss Woods, what brings you here? I heard Cena got arrested, so I've been looking for you, Mr. Wright. So, thought you might be here at the scene. You must be so worried. But rest assured, I'm going to do my very best to defend her. Cena's going through such a hard time. I hope she doesn't lose heart. Even just coming back to this place must have been really difficult for her. Huh? You mean the Cosmos Space Center? What? You didn't know? She used to live here when she was a little girl. Huh?
Why? How?
She did? No, I didn't know. No wonder she knew so much. Miss Woods, could you tell me more in detail? I hate this case. Cena's mom worked here. Is it her mom?
Oh no.
Oh boy. If I remember right, she was a doctor of psychology or something like that. But why was a psychology specialist working at a space research facility? I don't really know. But I do know that she lived and worked here. So Cena lived here too. So it was far from Zena's first time here. I wonder why she didn't mention it. She probably didn't want to talk about it. This place is connected to a very sad memory for her. Ooh. Sad memory. Can you tell me about it? There was a terrible incident here. It was 7 years ago. Same time frame as the Hat 1 launch. Zena's mom, in a robotics lab. She was... So it is Zena's mom.
Yep.
She was murdered.
What?
After it happened, Cena stopped coming to school. Poor Cena. And all this time, she never let on at all. I'm so worried about her. I came here so many times hoping to see her. But I never saw her again. After a while, we started exchanging letters. But I didn't get to see her face to face for 7 long years. So the first time you've seen her in 7 years was during Professor Court's case. That's right. And I was so surprised. She was like a completely different person. So tearful and happy. What was Athena like as a child? She was very sensitive and kind. She didn't talk very much. She liked to draw and paint at home.
That's completely different from the Athena we know now. I can't even picture it.
She never left the Space Center much because she was very sensitive to other people's emotions. When she went to crowded places, She'd get dizzy from all the emotions flying around. Must have been hard to hear people's hearts as well as their voices. It's always wear these big, heavy-looking headphones. Said her mother made them for her as part of her research. Huh? Wonder what kind of research it was. So did Athena's mother develop Widget?
Very likely. Because of the similarity with the two robots there.
Because of her special ability, Athena couldn't handle being in school very often. And I was always out sick because of my weak constitution. Maybe that's why we became such good friends. We used to play together here at the Space Center a lot. Brings back memories.
Sounds like Athena's mother played a big role here at the Space Center. Oh, Daddy, show her that picture.
Atta girl. Good idea. Miss Woods, could you take a look at this for me? Oh look, there's Athena's mom. The woman on the far right is the one in the kimono. That's Dr. Metis Sykes. Athena's mother's murderer? Did it by any chance have any connection to the Hat 1 launch? What? Why? Yes, it did. As I recall, it happened on the day before the launch. Just as I suspected. So this is the murder director Cosmos was talking about. Does that mean the crime Prosecutor Blackwell was convicted of is the murder of Athena's mother? There's a chance her death is somehow connected to the current case. There is? Thank you for all your help, Miss Woods. And please, try not to worry. Won't let anything happen to Athena. Thank you, Mr. Wright. I know you'll take good care of her.
So we need to investigate the robotics lab and also talk to Athena. We've got our plates full, Daddy. I hope we can fit it all in before the day is through.
The detention center first, then. We have to see Athena before visiting hours are over. So we get no choice. Got it. Well, if it isn't my Mr. Lawyer, fancy meeting you here. Well, hello, Detective Fulbright. Here on business. Tell the truth. I'm here to interview Ted Tony. Really?
I can kind of get it. He's kind of like the one with the closest relation to Candace Arm, right?
The one
And
behind...
he also was present in the trial where the moonrock went kaboom.
Yeah, we'll see what he says. The one behind the courtroom bombing, is it? He suddenly said he's ready to tell the truth about that case. And what he was saying was so incredible, I just had to come over here to hear more.
Incredible. What was he saying?
Why don't you hang around here for yourself? Really? Us? Are you sure? I give you my special permission. Here comes the bomber now.
Oh, all right, here we go. I get to voice something. It's been a while. You. What nerve have you come to here? You're here to laugh at me, I suppose?
Like I'd waste my breath on you. After all, you're the one who assaulted Apollo and put him in the hospital.
Violence, no. Question, okay.
No violence? Too bad Apollo didn't get a chance to say that before you attacked him.
I...
Fine. Just answer me this, Mr. Tony. What is the truth of yours about the courtroom you blew up.
Oh, it's too bright. No, I didn't do it. I didn't blow up the courtroom. Wait, what?
The remote switch.
When I killed Detective Arm, there was another person in the room.
Uh-oh.
What? Okay. Well, what are you talking about? Who else could have been there?
Why is he suddenly telling us this to us now, too?
Maybe he has some personal stake in it, or maybe he's behind bars already. I saw it, I tell you. I saw someone's hand as they were stealing the remote switch. This person was there and witnessed the murder I committed.
What?
I don't know who it was. But that's who blew up the courtroom. You expect us to buy that?
Oh, dear. Easy there, Trucy. I don't see any psych locks. So I guess he must not be lying.
Pardon me, I got a little carried away. But I'm telling you the truth, I did not detonate that bomb.
There you have it. We can't exactly ignore his claims, of course. So we're doing a follow-up. We're even analyzing the bomb itself, or what's left of it. But even still, Tonight's still going to be in jail for the assault of Apollo.
Yep. And the murder.
Yeah, the assault of Apollo and Candace's murder. Yeah, of course.
Oh, look at 7K.
That's the asteroid.
Even something more interesting is the...
I want to see the other side of 11D. Because I think that's the timer. And if we flip that around and it's not cracked, that's a problem. Also, the light over by 11A is cracked. There's a piece of that missing.
Yeah.
And in a funky way, too. So that's not probably from the bomb. We haven't found any new facts yet, though. Wow, they've laid it all out piece by piece.
Oh, look at all those beautiful little pieces.
Oh wait, no, the screen's right above it. Right above 11D. That's the screen right there. I'm dumb.
Okay. I wish I could have them.
Uh-oh. Looks like his geek switch has been activated. Well, I hope you're ready for Prosecutor Blacko's special brand of questioning.
Aye. Anything but that?
He's gone. I'm afraid I have to be off now, too. I was just about to question Miss Sykes.
You're gonna see Athena now?
That's right. Oh, did you folks come to see her? Sorry for the trouble, but you come back later. Well, off I go. What bad timing. Looks like we'll have to wait until after her questioning is over to see her.
And after we came all this way too, well, I guess it's back to the Space Center. Let's go check out the robotics lab, Daddy.
All right, sounds like a plan.
Ooh, okay, what's jumping out here? A lot of random shit, but... So this is a robotics lab, huh? Looks like it's exactly one floor above the boarding lounge. Just what I thought.
Yep. Makes sense.
So the same method of entry is also the method of escape.
I think this is where they
for-
were saying some of the people were at the time they were doing the evacuation.
No, they said the bitch was in that room alone, but they had to bust in her door to get to evacuate, right? So she was doing something, and then they busted in her door to escape.
Where people were directed to evacuate from via the emergency ladder. It's where Athena's mother was killed 7 years ago. Speaking of someone who works with robotics...
Daddy, look, over there. So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right? Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about the case and have a nice cup of tea instead?
Apollo and Aura Blackwell. Wonder what they're talking about.
Well, well, come to spoil our fun, just when I was enjoying our time alone. Trucy and Mr. Wright. If it's Apollo you want, you can't have him. He said he's investigating on his own.
And I respect his wishes. We just came here to investigate this lab.
Well, this is my lab, so you'll need my permission if you want to do any snooping.
Also, okay, so now that we're on this side, we can see the emergency ladder window.
Yep.
And it looks like it's just a latch, so they can just swing it open. Toss the ladder out the window.
I heard about the trial. You made mincemeat out of the director. And suddenly Starbuck was out and your little subordinate, the princess, was in. Case closed and they all lived happily ever after. Ha 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 ha. Sure, Daddy, say something to her. And I suppose you're going to defend the princess in court, am I right?
I love how we've just reversed, like now you have 4 characters in this room and I have 1.
There's no balance in here.
The princess, huh? Guess she's talking about Athena. Of course, Athena is innocent.
Oh my, such loyalty and trust. She seems pretty suspicious to me, though. The emotionally unstable princess. There's your culprit for you. Don't you agree, Apollo? I don't know yet. Apollo, how could you? What's wrong with saying I don't know if it's true? It's a very scientific approach. Your subordinate is more level-headed than you, or should I say, former subordinate.
Yeah, I really don't trust this woman. She's up to something. She's involved 100%. Also, this music is kind of spoopy.
The villain music.
Can't believe it. Does Apollo really suspect Athena?
Not an inch. Phew, all this laughing has worn me out. Your turn to say something, hunk of junk. Mr. Turan, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay?
Mr. Turan. But that's Apollo you're talking to.
Oh, this hunk of junk you hear is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost? Mr. Turan, how are your injuries? Mr. Turan. Mr. Turan, how are your injuries? Mr. Turan. I think we gotta show him the coat. In the museum. I guess Clay intends to hang around to haunt the princess that murdered him. Oh, and to haunt the lawyer that defends her too, of course.
Robot that can see ghosts? Yeah, right. And I'm a spirit medium? Sorry, but apparently, scientists just don't tell very frightening ghost stories. I intend to defend Athena, no matter what you have to say about it.
How perfectly foolish. That kind of blind belief makes people lose sight of the truth. I can't even do the voice. Just like 7 years ago.
Could you tell me about the incident 7 years ago?
Why, do you enjoy trampling on people's feelings and rubbing salt in their wounds? Or do you just want me to talk? In that case, what should I ask for in return? I'd like to hear about that incident too. It helped me understand the current case better.
Huh? Apollo knows about that case too?
He knows about it correctly. Well, if you're the one who's asking, Apollo, come on, hunk of junk. You tell the story. Bad Miss Aura, that's private information. Huh, if you won't talk, I'll just have to make you talk. Yes, yes, who cares about personal privacy? Not me. I'm ready to use my blast processing abilities to impart all available information. Wow, what a magic trick. He's like a completely different robot now. The bodies of all the robots that came through this lab were designed by Miss Aura. I was born 7 years ago. Miss Aura was much, much younger then.
Yikes. Better watch what you say if you don't want to get recycled, Clunk.
And then our hearts were created by that great genius, Dr. Meta Sykes.
Hearts? Robots have hearts? Can you even make such a thing?
Emotions are not irrational things. Our logic and hearts can be integrated. The two navigation companions created by Miss Aura and Dr. Métis transhumans. I'm reading it as Métis, like the people in Canada. Gah. Mete.
Huh? Glanced over at her desk. Yeah, because there is a picture over there.
Yep. Nobody could continue Metis' research, and she and her work were truly one of a kind. And now the two navigation companies are all that's left of Métis here on Earth.
The robots are all that's left? Is he leaving out a very important someone?
We built the ultimate creations together, but now she's gone. I get the feeling Dr. Sykes loved her robots almost as much as she loved her daughter. And almost as much as she loved you. What are you talking about? Don't make me laugh. But you lost someone too, didn't you, Apollo? Your friend Clay? I guess you and I are pretty much in the same boat. Miss Aura, would you like a tissue? Keep your trap shut, hunk of junk. Blanco is an important keepsake of your time with Dr. Sykes. You should treat him better. What does it matter? He doesn't feel pain, and I can always repair his body. Besides, the hearts aren't actually in their bodies.
What do you mean by that?
The program Metis runs on a separate mainframe. Their bodies are controlled remotely from there. Their hearts and memories are there too. Their bodies are really just peripherals. So I can do anything I want to them.
I'm not so sure that gives you the right to physically abuse the poor things.
But why are you people looking into such an old case now, anyway?
Well, we believe the culprit of that incident might be the same person as in this case.
So Daddy's gonna find out who killed Dr. Sykes, too.
She's just like, it was my brother. He got arrested. Duh.
I'm sure you're aware of who Metis' killer was.
Yes, Prosecutor Blackwell. Or so it seems.
That's a quaint way of putting it. Are you implying you don't think he did it?
I can't say anything for sure right now. But that's exactly what I'd like to hear from your side of it. So help me be sure.
I was the one who introduced Simon to Metis. You know. He wanted to learn psychology, he said, to give himself an edge in court.
Ah, Prosecutor Blackwell's forte. His infamous power of suggestion technique.
Exactly, and he was oddly serious about it, rather than a teacher-student relationship. He treated her more like our loyal samurai would treat his sovereign.
Metis Dona. Huh. Seems more like a lost soul than a dignified samurai to me.
He even got along well with the miserable little princess. Why do you call Athena the princess, anyway? Well, she is Metis' daughter, after all, although she's nothing like her, besides. Doesn't the selfish little princess always have lots of white knights hanging around?
Now I think I see why Athena didn't say anything when she ran into Aura yesterday. It all makes sense now.
So the culprit behind the two cases could be the same, huh? That settles it then.
What does it settle?
None of your business. Just forget you heard anything. How long are people gonna hang around in here anyway? What? But we came here to take a look around. You think you could just waltz in and ransack a person's lab? Show me a search warrant.
What the heck?
He's dying, by the way. I feel bad for him.
We're not police, so we don't have one.
Then get out now. Clonko, show them out. Certainly, Ms. Aura. Ouch, don't push. My apologies, I'm just following orders.
Ah!